So, guys, we are going to bring onto the phone an assistant LA Times sports editor. He's the man who makes a lot of things happen, I would imagine. In my world, he makes a lot of things happen. Houston Mitchell, he's an old friend of the show. We haven't had you on in a while because I think you changed numbers on me. And, well, the magic of DMs, here we are again. It's good to have you back on with us, Houston. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I kept changing my numbers, hoping to avoid this, but here I am. So let's talk about the Dodgers.
Suckered right on to. No, we're not talking Dodgers. We're actually going to talk about creme brulee.
Oh,
good.
Sounds
like a good thing. Now let's get into some Los Angeles Dodgers. As of recording right now, the Dodgers are a game behind the San Francisco Giants, the upstart Giants, as some people like to call them. Although a lot of folks could have saw this coming. Their game behind is, in your opinion, in your mind, will the Dodgers pull off that ninth straight division crown?
I've been thinking about this. I get a lot of emails from people asking me this. I think what we're going to end up with, and this guarantees it won't happen if I say it, is that they're going to end the season tied.
Oh.
I mean, it just seems the way this season has gone, that's what's going to happen. And they'll play one game on the following Monday to determine who wins the division and who goes to a wild card game.
I don't know if my heart can handle another game 163. I mean, I had one in my lifetime.
I mean, you look at how evenly matched they've been all year. It just makes sense to me. But the odds of that happening are probably pretty low. That's what my gut tells me.
Honestly, that feels right for this season of baseball. Mm-hmm. It's just been so weird in so many different ways, particularly for the Dodgers. And the fact that they're even kind of here still. I would feel like that would be just a perfect hurdle for them to have to get that crown, to have to beat the Giants one more time. So I'm kind of on board with it.
Yeah, I think that's what'll happen.
Great. Now we have something to look forward to, Houston. We appreciate that. We'll call that.
We're working on that Monday.
We'll call that free baseball, I guess. That's what they call it, right?
Free bonus.
Bonus baseball. There you go. We'll take it. Houston, you talk about the emails you get, just talking about whether or not they're going to take the division or not. I'm sure you have the pulse on the feelings of a lot of fans that are probably heavily trying to get a hold of you and let you know how they feel about it. But in our, in our experience with fans, this is the worst 100-team win baseball team that has ever been. Do you feel like you've gotten that sense from people? And if so, how do you feel about it? Because it does feel strangely like a failure for such a successful team.
Oh, I get so much mail from people who hate Dave Roberts, who think this team is one of the worst teams in Dodger history, who get angry after every loss. And in some ways, I can appreciate it because it has been a frustrating team to watch at times. Mm-hmm. But then you take a step back, and what I try to do is take my emotion out of it as a Dodger fan. And the team is on pace to win 105 games. Mm. It's hard to get mad at a team like that. Yeah, I mean, there have been frustrations, but, if you told me before the season that they would have, 95 wins right now or whatever it is, I would have taken that gladly. Oh, and you look at all that they've been through with the injuries and Trevor Bauer and all of that stuff, to be where they are right now is really remarkable. And I tell fans, the readers all the time, hey, calm down. This is supposed to be fun. We're tied for, we've been tied for the division lead. We're one game behind now. This is supposed to be exciting and fun. And even if they don't win the division, they'll still be in the playoffs. So let's try to enjoy this, as frustrating as a lot of things have been.
Yeah, as a Dodger fan myself here, I strongly prefer this over the just waltzing in 17 games up and all that. Like, I mean, sure, 2020 was fun, short season, get in relatively unscathed, but then you go and see them get their asses handed to them for the first few games there against Atlanta. So give me meaningful September baseball, and we're getting that.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed it. To me, it was relatively, and this is so elitist to say, it was relatively boring when they have a 15-game lead on September 1st. It's like, okay, can we just get to the playoffs now?
Yeah.
But now every team is excited. Every game is exciting to watch, and you're up against your arch rivals. it doesn't get much better than that from a baseball standpoint.
It really doesn't. And we've talked about it a lot. So much of October is riding hot streaks and momentum and things like that. Mm-hmm. But you talk about getting to play your arch rivals. We had a fake arch rival for most of this year. We've gone back and forth on this argument so many times. Obviously, Houston, you watched it happen all preseason long. It's Dodgers, it's Padres. This is the World Series favorites. This is what the matchup's going to be all year long. In the first part of the year, it was wild. It was fun to watch the Padres take on the Dodgers. It was fun to watch those games, and all of a sudden, the Padres don't look that great. I mean, how much of a failure do you think it is for the Padres if they don't even make the playoffs at this point? Because the way they're playing and with the state of the wild card, seems like there's a good chance.
I think if they don't make the playoffs, it's a horrible failure on their part. I was reading yesterday rumors online that Bruce Bochy is, could be coming back next season if they don't make the playoffs. I don't know if that's true or not. That's not anything from any of our reporting.
Right. Yeah.
That tells you what's out there as far as, what this team is. And I look back at those first few games of the season against the Padres and the Dodgers, and the emotion and the exuberance the Padres had for those games, and the Dodgers just treated them as like any other game. And you look back and you wonder if that really they were spent emotionally after the first month of the season.
It's just April, as we see every day the Padres win or lose. Really, they lose every time they lose. We see it on the Twitter. It's just April. Well, there's a lot more baseball season than that for the Padres. And yeah, I agree. It'll be a monumental failure for them. And heads are going to roll. Jace Tingler, I mean, even if they do make the wild card, I'd be surprised to see him keeping that job. But, they don't pay me to make those kind of decisions, and this isn't a Padres show.
Yeah.
this is a Dodgers show. I think in your last Dodgers Dugout, and guys, if you aren't subscribed, you can subscribe to Houston has a weekly newsletter for the LA Times, so it comes right into your email box, which is pretty convenient. And he smartly mentioned some geniuses recently, some pro podcast. It wasn't us, but I appreciate the shout out a couple weeks ago, of course.
Absolutely.
But I think last week you were talking a bit about Cody Bellinger, which everybody has done in some way, shape, or form this season, and especially over the last month. We head into the season, or even into like last season and off season and all of this. A lot of the conversation was it's Corey Seager's final year on contract. Who gets the money? It seems like at this point maybe the smarter play is Cody Bellinger, but now. I don't know. I mean, we're seeing standard Corey Seager play, and Cody has, I don't even know if falling off a cliff is describing it well enough from what we saw in the first half, at least, of that 2019 MVP season. So first, man, I don't even know where to go with it. Let's stick on that. Who do you sign? Who is the better player to throw money at for the long term for the Dodgers?
Well, I think obviously the best player would be Seager. Mm-hmm. He's injury prone, yes, but he also hits well when he's in there. He was the World Series and LCS MVP last season. I don't think his future will always be at shortstop. If my priority for bringing back on the Dodgers would be Seager, Trey Turner, even though he still has a year left on his deal still. Seager, Scherzer, it'd be great to get him back. Bellinger is the least of my concerns. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, Bellinger is eligible for arbitration again.
Right.
So he's back probably either way, unless they just want to cut him loose. But as far as big money, I would extend Seager. I would try to extend Trey Turner, in the offseason if I could, and look at what Max Scherzer wants. And Cody Bellinger, if he comes back for a much lower price, well, that's fine. We'll take a chance. But right now, it's been a slump for a season and a half. They keep trying to say it's the injury, but the slump started before the injury.
Right.
I understand Doc always wants to support his players, and I respect him for that. But, if you look at it carefully, this guy hasn't been a very good hitter for quite a while. Yeah. And he's like Dorian Gray. Every time they say, well, we're going to pull him out of the lineup, a Dodger gets injured.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for, if Cody Bellinger has any, sudden account withdrawals to pay someone off to get injured so he can stay in the lineup. But frankly, I don't really like to bash players, but he's hitting 160. Like I said in the newsletter, he went 2 for 48 against the Giants this year. You could go 0 for 48 against the Giants and console yourself by saying, well, Cody Bellinger only got 2 more hits than I did.
I can tell you, I can go 0 for 48 against the Giants. I think I could do a pretty good job of that.
Yeah,
I'll take half the money for it.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, no problem.
All right. Well, how about this? Speaking of money, I mean, it's not a one-sided decision. It's not just the Dodgers. I would say if we're throwing money, the $200 million question here, if we're throwing money at Corey Seager, is he going to take that kind of money from L.A. or as many rumors have had it, do you think he ends up a Yankee somehow?
Scott Boras will make sure Corey Seager goes to the team that pays him the most money.
Right.
And you know, Andrew Friedman has said in the past that they have a money figure for their free agents. Every free agent they try to re-sign, and if another team surpasses that money, they will say, okay, well, good luck to you with that team. And that's what will happen with Seager, unless Seager convinces Boras to give a home team discount. If the Yankees want to throw, if you get in a bidding war with the Yankees, he's going to have an astronomical contract. I think if the Yankees offer him some sort of astronomical deal, the Dodgers would say, okay, you sign that deal and we'll work on signing Trey Turner.
Yeah.
But
Dodgers are definitely in a great position with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, that's just my guess. I have no independent knowledge of that, but that's what makes sense to me, judging what's gone on in the past.
Swinging back to Cody real quick, in your opinion, you've watched a lot of baseball over the years. Is there hope for Cody Bellinger as a big leaguer in 2022 and beyond?
Well, I mean, there's always hope, but I think, none of us really know how much the injury has hurt him. It may have hurt him some. I don't blame it for everything he's going through. So I think, getting 100% healed will help, but I can't think of many players who've gone into this horrific slump and returned as a great player again. He may be a serviceable player, he may be a good player, but the Cody Bellinger of 2017 and early 2019, I don't think we're going to see that guy again.
Well, they say baseball's 10% physical and the other half is mental.
That's right.
It's definitely got to be hurting times for Cody B. But hopefully he proves us all wrong and comes back to MVP form. Houston, we don't want to take too much of your time. It was fun.
Well, guys, I got to tell you, I listen to your podcast as much as I can. It's great. You guys do a great job, and it's an honor for me to be on it.
Appreciate you as always. That is Houston Mitchell. You guys can find him at LA Times Houston on the Twitter, and that's the best place because he's a fun, sarcastic follow on there. So check him out and make sure you sign up for the newsletter, LA Times newsletter. It's Dodgers Dugout. Houston, thanks again for the time, man.
All right, thank you guys.